Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. We are live at the Apollo. No, I'm just kidding, y'all. We are live at House Culture Conversations. What's happening, DJ Dewey B?
What's up, DJ DLott? Good to see you, brother.
Hey, good to see you as well. How's the week?
Week was good. Again, officially cold. We are entering the next phase of cold.
Oh, oof. I had a little marketing little image I put out there. Had a few palm trees behind me, but I had on a jacket, so it's a little chilly out here. It's like,
Right.
68, 70.
Right.
So,
right.
Whew.
Take about 40 degrees off that, and you got good times around here.
Yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle, but
yes,
we're gonna make do. We're gonna make do. But tonight we've got a special guest that I think is just gonna be a fantastic conversation. Why don't you go ahead and introduce her, Dewey?
One of the world's best, y'all. Tremendous person. This lady is tremendous. She's a great DJ, a tremendous person. Let's get her on the show.
All right, DJ Lady D, what's happening? How are you?
I feel like I should do an Arsenio whoop, whoop, whoop.
That's it. That's absolutely it. Welcome to House Culture Conversations. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. DLott, my old friend Dewey B. I mean, I just appreciate y'all for keeping the conversation going, keeping house in the conversation, and it's all for the culture. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. We would just have it no other way, right? We came up in this culture. It means so much to us. So to have folks still want to talk about it is amazing and fantastic. How are you doing in this whole COVID and these crazy things that are happening socially in our country? Are you getting along okay?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I mean, I'm not going to say I came out completely unscathed. I lost a family member, I lost some friends. But I would say overall, every time you go through some adversity like this, it teaches you so much. It informs you, and it teaches you how to look at that silver lining and appreciate life and have that gratitude. So it's a very telling time for a lot of things, but I think that I have been able to maintain some optimism and hope for the future, even for, generations beyond me, things that I won't be able to see. But I think that we are all kind of collectively conscious of and working towards, that's why there is so much unrest, because we want a better world. So we're going to just keep, striving and hopefully thriving.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Well, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from.
I'm Darlene Jackson, also known as DJ Lady D. I'm from Chicago, from the Washington Heights neighborhood, home of Jackie Robinson West. That is, let's see, I grew up, a child of the 70s. I have 5 brothers and sisters, so they're all much older than me. So I was like exposed to so much different music growing up, like between my parents' music, and they come from Tennessee, like country and Western and blues. Oh my God, so much. And then my older brothers and sisters, like everything from singer-songwriters, Joni Mitchell and, Carole King and then like rock, so Elton John and Yes, and, a lot of all of that. And then disco, of course, like I just, in my heart of hearts, I knew I was a disco queen. My brothers, my sisters used to go to the disco and they would be getting ready and I would just be like crying, like, I want to go, I can dance, I could do it. And they used to laugh at me so hard. But I just was exposed to a lot of different music. And, we had a piano in my home. So I was a little songwriter. I put that in my little air quotes because my songs were just more, campy, kitschy kind of things. And, so I just grew up in a sort of idyllic, household. I think where a lot of us came up, I went to Marcus Garvey School, one of the first schools, I think, where our principal really placed emphasis on cultural things, like teaching us Black history. And so I think me, my classmates, people that in my neighborhood, we were all very culturally aware kids, and very active in different activities. You know, we used to take tap dance and ballet and modern, and we were just very artistically aware, culturally aware. We used to hang out at the Carter G. Woodson Library. You know,
Mm.
all of those amazing cultural touchstones that they that gave us growing up. And then I went to high school. I went to Whitney Young. I would say, you know, my relationship with house music begins maybe like that last year of 8th grade and into freshman year, because by freshman year we were fully house. But around 7th and 8th grade, we were, you know, punked out.
Hmm.
Can't, you know, somebody used to bring their boombox to school, and we would have parties in the middle of the day. Like at lunch, we would eat our sandwiches real fast, go outside, you know, somebody hit the tape, and then we we would be doing our Rock Lobster and our B-52s, you know, our Devo, and we'd be getting our dance on. So that was definitely happening. And then I remember just, you know, house culture exploding. I went to Whitney Young, go Dolphins. And you know, for the blue and orange, we were all about the house. So Hot Mix 5 used to come and play, you know, our sock hops. And you know, on the weekends we would, you know, somebody's parents would take us and drop us off at Mendel and different spots, you know, Sawyer's or wherever the case, you know, wherever the best party was that weekend. So we would try to be doing all of that. And I wouldn't say like, you know, I had a lot of carte blanche, you know, going here and there, but occasionally I could say I was spending the night at somebody's house and we might end up at the playground or the candy store. And so, you know, because my parents weren't the strictest, but they had no idea what I was doing. You know, I was officially at a sleepover. So I got really exposed to house music. You know, I got to see Ron Hardy. I got to see, you know, just everybody who was playing at the time. You know, just our first wave, our house ambassadors, originators, creators, you know, pioneers, all of those people. They were in the stratosphere of what we were doing. So that just kind of takes you through like my upbringing. I hope that's enough for the moment. We can take out from there.
Absolutely. Hey, you guys, we are on House Culture Conversations, having a wonderful conversation getting underway with DJ Lady D. And she was just filling us in on her background a little bit. But when did you start getting on the tables and starting to DJ?
Yeah, I actually did learn some things when I was at Whitney Young. You know, house music being what it was, a lot of my friends had decks, and they had like little boys club that, you know, they could all spin records together, and I would just kind of hang out waiting for my turn, right? But you know, there was always like some sort of hurdle that I had to jump. Like, you don't have any records. Oh man, but you let so and so spin with your records. So because they know how to spin. Oh, okay. So I started buying records, you know. So in high school, I really did start buying 12 inches. And my sister, for a very short period of time, was dating one of the guys, or hanging out with one of the guys, I don't know, from imports. So he was giving her records and she was giving them to me. So I had a small collection of, you know, things that I was interested in. And sometimes I would go to the Loop and or Roses, and, you know, just go through the records and the albums. You know, growing up with my brothers who had a lot of hi-fi equipment, they were DJs and they used to DJ the block parties and different events around the neighborhood. So I knew what, you know, pioneer stuff was, technique stuff was. I knew how to use it, operate it probably from the time I was 3. So I wasn't daunted by the idea of standing in front of 2 turntables. I just was like, oh, this is cool. You know, it's one more than I'm used to. And so in high school, I had a few friends that would teach me and show me a few things when the other boys weren't around. So yeah, it was always like, okay, everybody's gone. Here, this is how you do this. And so, although I never played, you know, out for anybody when I was in high school, but when I was confronted with turntables again, like after college, and I was probably 22. And I was like, oh my God, I remember this. I remember Jeff Cage, shout out Dolphin, whose birthday is today. He was DJing then, but he actually taught me some things. Dwayne Aiken taught me some things. So some of the people that I was playing with, but it started to come back then. So around 22, I was dating a DJ, and we ended up moving together. And so I had equipment around all the time. And when nobody was home and I had nothing to do, like literally like spend hours and hours just hanging out and remembering and learning and practicing. So I had my first gig out in public when I was 25. And so that was 1995. And here we are in, 2021. So I've been playing ever since.
That is fantastic. By the way, Babu from New Zealand, thank you so much for joining us. Vince Lindsay, what's happening, brother? Sarah Angel said, yay, my favorite lady. So welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. And the Candy Lady, I see you out there. And others, if you haven't chimed in, I see you out there, but go ahead and get in the chat and let us know that you are watching and that you're enjoying the conversation. Now, you got exposed to house, then a little bit later, you started DJing. Why do you think house has just been so explosive? Like, to me, over the last several years, it's gone through another boom, another transformation, and it's just been amazing. Why do you think that is?
Oh, I think that house has always been, now that we can look back on it, it's always been a resistance movement. So it was born out of resistance, right? Resistance to people telling you what you can and cannot do, and people telling you who you can and cannot love, and where you can or cannot go. So even as teenagers, I think coming up from parents and older brothers and sisters who came through the civil rights movement, we were instilled with this message that we're free, we can do and go as we please. We're not going to kowtow to anyone. We believe in ourselves, our strengths, our abilities. We were raised Afrocentric and culturally aware. And so we knew enough about our history to know what we were capable of doing. And we didn't have to ask for permission. We would rather say we're sorry later than ask somebody, can we do it? So we were entrepreneurial in spirit. We wanted our own money. We wanted our own places and spaces and safe places and brave spaces in which to be ourselves. So I think that in the environment that we're in today, where you see even more and more of that, or even more of that, the pushback, where people say, no, we want you to get back in the box. We're like, no. And that's why house is still so relevant, because it still says, absolutely not. We are going to love who we want to love. We are going to, object to the things that you don't want us to do that we believe are right. And we have a moral center. We have a values base that nobody can really touch. So we're always going to espouse these things. Is the message of house just doesn't change. As long as there are people who are trying to come up against us in a certain way, we're going to, have a message that says, absolutely not. We're going to do and be, and we are. That's it.
That's very insightful. DJ Dewey B, care to comment?
Oh yeah. You know what it is about Lady D is she's a great ambassador for Chicago, number one, and for the music overall. She's a great ambassador. What she speaks is the truth. And if ever you all get a chance to get out there and hear her play, you're in for a treat. So please get on out there and check her out.
Thank you.
That's real talk. That's real talk. So, Lady D, what are a couple of your favorite stories?
My favorite stories about
I'm sure you got a lot, but give us one or two.
About DJing?
DJing or house or
house music? Mm-hmm. Well, geez, favorite stories. I know that we always talk about events or things like that, but I think one of my favorite stories is when I first officially met Frankie Knuckles. I think that that was a really fun day. It was when the Chosen Few were doing their thing behind the museum, so it was one of the earlier ones. And I don't know, Frankie was there, and Jamie Principal was there, and Jamie kept saying, "Have you met Frankie yet?" I said, "No, I haven't met Frankie yet. Frankie wants to meet you. You need to come and meet him." I'm like, "Okay." And so I kept kind of putting it off because I was being a little bashful and kind of like, feeling like maybe Jamie is just, saying that and it's not true. But he finally, pulled me over, got me in front of him, and Frankie was just really, really warm. He had a big hug for me, and he actually also kissed me, like I just love you, like Lady D, I wanted to meet you, and then give me like a big kiss on the lips. And I was like, wow, like I was like, oh yeah, I was like, I can turn him. I was like, yeah, no, but I literally was like, this is amazing. This is incredible. And I kind of regret that I don't think I ever got an actual picture with Frankie, because I think that, when you always think you're going to be able to do that forever, right? You don't really think somebody's going to be gone. And so I have to just live with my memories, but I really enjoyed Frankie, and we, got to know each other after that. And he was a great proponent for me. Like, he booked me for his he did a house music festival in 2004, I believe. And he had Northerly Island. It had just opened. He did a 2-day festival with some partners, and it wasn't well attended, but I think it was the first time that house people attempted to do something on such a large scale, and privately, with not like with the Department of Cultural Affairs and special events and things like that. So even though it didn't go well, I think it was a success in the fact that it opened up this idea that we can do things on a mass scale, and that house is a commodity that you can actually monetize, because it's global and people could come from all around the world to experience house music. And so some of the things that like Detroit does, or even the more current like EDM fest, that comes out of attempts like that Frankie made. And so to have been on that bill with Danny Tenaglia and David Morales and Derek Carter and Ralph Rosario, some of my favorite people. And it wasn't a huge lineup. It wasn't like that huge festival lineup that you see now, but it got me some experience with large scale production, and the fact that I was the only woman DJ on that lineup. It was just so those are a couple of things that just kind of stand out to me, like the things that when people sort of validate you, like the godfather of our house music, right? So so I take that to heart.
That's real talk. Well, we have a question, so I got to put it up there. He asked, Lady D, what song most inspires you?
What song most inspires me? I always come back to Brighter Days, Dajé. I always come back to that song, and not just the ooh ah oh ah part. If you know the original song with the original lyrics, it's it's just the quintessential. I'm not gonna be upset for too long. I'm gonna fix it, and that's kind of my mentality about most things. So she's like, I'm feeling blue, but I don't know what to do, and I dream of brighter days. And so and then it takes off from there. Like, that song is so infectious, and Dajé's voice is everything. So
Love that. We just had another comment. Girl power, much respect. And we were talking a little bit when we were behind the scenes about, becoming a lady DJ in a time when it was mostly guys DJing, but you had a couple other people that were in front of you that kind of cracked the door open for you. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So people often ask, like, do you want to be a DJ or a female DJ? Does it matter? And I would say, if you have to preface it every time with, the female DJ, she's a female DJ, it's all redundant, right? So you just say DJ and that's cool. I do have Lady DJ, Lady D in my name. So Lady DJ is cool with me. But if you have to like quantify it every time or qualify it every time, sorry, then it's sort of not really saying that you accept that women are DJs and men are DJs, right? They don't, because you don't say the man DJ, you just say the DJ so and so, right? So if you have to say it, you kind of missing the point. And just my gender is a part of me, but it doesn't define everything, right? So and my friend Colette, she has a great, saying that she will say sometimes, like, ears don't have gender, and so something like that. I mean, I'm probably paraphrasing. I'm getting it wrong, probably, but to the extent that it is, leave sex out of it or leave gender out of it. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, I came up in, I guess you would say, the second wave. So in the 90s. And the women who came before me, the first ladies, the Celeste, and my girl Lori Branch, they definitely cracked the door open. I think they had a much harder time than I had, because I think by the 90s, people were interested in different things, different personalities coming through, and seeing the women who emerged during that time was very exciting for people. So to have been able to walk through those doors that they, kind of opened for me, the Terry Bristols, the Psycho Bitches, that was phenomenal. It helped me immensely. I always give it up to any woman that came before, even like, the Angie Hurleys and Angie Saunders, I think. Were they both named Angie? I might be having like memory lapse, but I know that they were doing things back in the day, and there was talk, So
Yeah, that's a powerful response. Dewey, your thoughts on lady DJs?
Some of the best DJs I've ever heard, frankly, and probably because they have to work a little harder to get it. You know what I'm saying? People will try to sabotage their programs a lot. Haters, a lot of haters out there in the DJ world. So, but I support them totally. And the DJs she just mentioned are all legends of Chicago house music. That's for sure.
That's it. That's it. Hey, Paul's got another question. I guess he's trying to get his set together. Or do you have a song that you mix, that's a go-to song that you mix in your house mixes?
Do I have a go-to song? I don't know if anybody is out there who hears me quite a bit can help with that. I don't think I have a go-to song. I think that I craft mixes that are quite improvisational. So I am usually about the feeling of the moment, the setting, the mood, whatever is happening, and allow things to kind of come through me. So I wouldn't say I have a go-to. I don't think I do. If I do, please let me know. Or please let him know.
Hey, you have a go-to energy. Hey,
Yes.
I love that, sir.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I do take it seriously. I do think it's important for me to, I guess, inspire people, kind of alleviate whatever is on your mind, right? I think we're all working to try to ease the pressure.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. When you think about, we're getting back to things, and things are opening back up. How's that going for you? And I know you do some other things outside of DJ. Tell us a little bit about kind of getting back out there and some of the other things and projects you got going on.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they opened up the city, I was, the phone started ringing, but yeah, I was getting offers right away. So I had to grapple with, was I ready to go back into these spaces with people, lots of people? And I went ahead and did it because I thought, why do you get a vaccine? Why do you, make these changes, right? You kind of have to test it out. And I was, I wouldn't say that I was suffering from any sort of cabin fever at all. Like, I was very comfortable at home. I really enjoy the space that, my partner and I created. And I just felt like people were ready. So people needed something. They needed people to speak to them. And I didn't do a lot of streaming. I did a little bit of streaming, some very special shows during like the COVID and the sheltering in place. But I was interested to see how going back into the open would be received. And so it was well received. And because the summer is one of the best times of living in Chicago, I was excited to see that my brand was strong. One, that people really enjoy what I do and wanted more of it, and kept me working in my artistic and creative practice, which I love so much. But on the other hand, yeah, I had a full-time job that allowed me to work from home. I am an advisor and a creator of programs around the DEI space at Columbia College Chicago and the Career Center. And I love that because I get to pay it forward. I get to work with up and coming people in a few different industries, but including music, radio, and things that I've been a part of myself. So it's always nice to be able to, just kind of give that back and like share my experiences so that somebody else can be more informed. Young people want so much, they just don't necessarily always have the right idea to get there. So being able to provide context and answer questions and just be, I guess, a sounding board for them while they experience their opportunities at getting their shot at things, it's really great. So I do love the work that I do there, and I was excited to be able to continue that with technology. I'm a fan of technology. I'm an early adopter to most things that come out. So I love the fact that we were finally able to. I had been saying for a while to my director, like, we should be able to work from home more often, so even way before the pandemic. And I would say, we have technology that can allow for these things, and you guys should embrace it. So I think now that we've had that moment and people see, I think that we're going to have just a lot more of that, even though, there's nothing wrong with the personal touch and being in communion with people and, the real world. I still like the fact that we have this technology that can still keep us together.
That is awesome. And DJ Daryl, Mellow Man, what's happening? Good to see you out there. He's
Hey,
a big fan of yours.
Hey, Mellow Man, I'm a big fan of his. He's got the deepest cuts. I'm like, always, whenever I hear his set, I always hear some things that I just don't know about. And good stuff. Good stuff.
He definitely goes good. And we got one more question from Paul. And actually, in answering that, I want you to talk about some of the stuff we were talking about before on the production side.
Yeah, sure. So, hey, Paul, thanks for the question. I do have a lot of creative interests other than DJing. One, I'm a writer. So I've written for a lot of, publications, outlets, Chicago Tribune and different magazines. I've done nightlife and music reviews and even just social commentary, personal essay. I'm a poet, so I write poetry as well. And in that space, in the poetry space, I've been able to share that with people through music. So working in collaboration with other producers and artists. I've worked with Ron Carroll. I've worked with DeMarcus Lewis, just kind of lending my poetry or spoken word to tracks that they've done. And I do have something new coming out. Rosario and I work together, and he brought me in on a track that is a tribute to Frankie Knuckles. It's called FK Always, and it's going to be on his upcoming album. And so I don't know exactly when it's going to be released, but soon. He sent me the final track, and I've been playing it in some of my sets, and it's a masterpiece. It's so brilliant. It actually has, in addition to my spoken word, like a poem that I wrote about Frankie, it has actual audio of Frankie speaking and talking about things. And he wove the two together so beautifully, and it's so orchestrated in the style of Frankie. So I think that people will really enjoy it. And as soon as it's available, I will let everybody know. So yeah, I write. And one day I hope to complete or put something together in a book or book-like form. I'll just say that.
Well, we will be on the lookout for that. Hey, tell people where they can get a hold of you, where they can book you and follow you.
You can book me at go to my website, djladychicago.com. djladychicago.com. There's forms you can fill out. There's emails there that are will tell you how to reach me. I am represented by Apart Music. You can reach out to apart music.com or do a search for that. My agent, Jessica Fortune, she's also a DJ out of Milwaukee, but she's put together a nice roster that really features a lot of women DJs. And in addition to some guys, in addition to some guy DJs, but she's a great proponent of us and sort of creating balance. So yeah, that's one way you can book me or reach me or see my schedule. I always keep my events posted, and I do have some December events coming up.
Thank you so much. This has been fantastic. We're going to let Dewey get ready to get on the ones and twos at twitch.tv/DJ Dewey B. But tell us where you think this thing is going, Lady D.
Oh man, house music, in the famous words of Glenn Underground, will never die. House music will never die. I mean, it's just too relevant, too culturally relevant, too socially on point, and it's just amazing. It keeps evolving, it keeps changing, it keeps growing. Can't kill something like that.
And with that, we want to thank everybody for joining us on House Culture Conversation for an amazing conversation with Lady D. You'll be able to watch the replay and out on Facebook.com/House Culture Conversations for the foreseeable future. All of our shows are out there, and this one is a favorite for sure. Thank you so much, Lady D. We're going to sign off and say peace to everybody.
Peace.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Derek. Thanks, Dewey.
Thank you.